things in order. And Eye on America, how a shortage of affordable daycare could put parents back on welfare.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
8 states and the 22,000 firefighters already on the front lines are exhausted and running low on supplies. The flames have burned now more than 585,000 acres, and we're still counting. Congressional investigators say that poor planning made a bad situation worse. Jerry Bowen has tonight's report.
The fire and light show continued overnight near Leavenworth, Washington, a combination of 19 fires that has burned to within 2.5 miles of the tourist town, forcing the evacuation of 18 homes, putting another 250 families on notice to be ready to go.
It happens so fast. You think you're going to have control over what's going to happen, and it doesn't. So, yeah, you're just kind of on this roller coaster of emotion.
The good news is that the leading edge of the fire is burning away from town for now. Meanwhile, more campers were airlifted from the backcountry to safety. They could actually see the fires approaching.
We knew we weren't in danger where we were. The problem is how do you get out?
To the south in Oregon, there was an overnight 20-degree temperature swing at the Monument Complex fire. Cooler weather that should help hand crews working on a fire line to halt the 21,000-acre blaze. Firefighters outnumber residents of Monument 3 to 1. And still, more help could be used.
We're really stretched to the limit here, and in this particular location, we got a 1 crew and 2 engines for this stretch of line here. We wish we had more.
But a General Accounting Office report says the various agencies could have had more if they just asked. The Forest Service failed to ask for about $44 million for fire trucks, bulldozers, and other equipment. In addition, says the GAO, despite a 6-year-old federal requirement, there's still no plan for fighting future wildfires on more than 120 million acres of public land. U.S. Army and National Guard troops are coming in to help fight the current fires, but weather will be the deciding factor.
A day like today is kind of a blessing and a curse, because the curse is we have the winds, we have the high temperatures and low humidities, but it's also a blessing because later on it'll bring in some cooler temperatures and much higher humidity, so that'll be some good news for the firefighters this weekend.
And a little good news would go a long way on the western fire front. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Los Angeles.
As for what the firefighters may be up against this weekend, we spoke a short time ago with Sue Vapp of the National Park Service in Boise, Idaho.
We're expecting dry lightning this evening through south central Idaho and on into western Montana. And so we expect the fires that we currently have to continue to grow on us.
Now, what about this recent GAO report out that says that as yet there is still no overall plan to fight these fires?
We may not have all the components of the plan on a piece of paper yet, but every day we meet and we talk about what our priorities are. And so I think we're a little bit closer to this than perhaps the GAO report alluded to.
Where do you think you stand right now in bringing these fires under control?
If we continue to have hot, dry weather with the threat of dry lightning storms, we'll continue to have new fires that we'll have to deal with every single day. And so we're expecting this siege to continue until about mid-September.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and of course, best of luck out there. There is another developing weather story tonight. In the Atlantic, Chantal was upgraded to a tropical storm again and now shows signs it could reach hurricane strength. There's a hurricane watch in effect now for Jamaica. On the market watch, stocks took a beating today. The Dow lost 151 points, the Nasdaq fell 63, weighing on the market new warnings of weak corporate earnings, accompanied by more job cuts. The economy has now shed 837,000 manufacturing jobs in the past 12 months. Today, Boeing said that it is cutting another 600 for a total of 1,200 there since May. And Ford announced thousands of job cuts today, as we hear from Anthony Mason.
As many as 5,000 engineers and managers could be cut at Ford in a sweeping restructuring. The world's second largest automaker announced today it'll slash its salaried payroll by 10%.
Well, Ford's in a lot of trouble any way that you look at it. Their sales are down. They've lost more market share than any other automaker out there.
It's not just the economic slowdown. While overall auto sales slipped 5% last month, Ford sales skidded nearly 13%. Its market share at nearly 24% a year ago has plummeted to 22%.
That is a significant number. That's a lot of units.
One reason, industry analyst Wendy Needham says Ford's foreign competition has been riding the strong dollar,
which has allowed the Japanese and the Koreans and the Europeans to put very competitive incentives on.
And eat into Ford's sales.
I think our stock price went down $2 after.
Ford's president, Jack Nasser, has also been distracted by the Firestone tire recall. Sales of Ford's best-selling Explorer have been badly hurt by the controversy. But analysts say the company's troubles run much deeper. In J.D. Power's recent quality rankings, Ford fell to 7th, behind its main Japanese, German, and American rivals.
The real problems are that its quality is going down relative to its competition. Its costs are going up. Those are the things that are really going wrong with Ford right now, and the Firestone thing has only exacerbated those problems.
Ford says the cuts will be achieved largely through retirement. Agreements with the United Auto Workers prevent the company from closing any plants for now, but more layoffs are expected. These cuts alone, analysts say, are not enough to steer Ford out of trouble. Bob?
Thank you very much, Anthony. Anthony Mason. Federal prosecutors said today that a Kansas City druggist now admits he diluted cancer drugs to boost his profits. As of now, Robert Courtney is charged with misbranding and adulterating the chemotherapy drugs. But homicide or manslaughter charges are possible if the diluted drugs are linked to any deaths. There are new concerns tonight about dangerous side effects associated with some drugs for rheumatoid arthritis. An FDA advisory panel has been considering the problem, and CBS News medical correspondent Elizabeth Caledon has our report on that.
Ever since the rheumatoid arthritis drug Remicade hit the market, it came with a powerful warning.
Serious infections requiring hospitalization have been reported.
But now an FDA advisory panel is trying to decide if that caveat is strong enough in the wake of a growing list of problems associated with Remicade and its cousin, Enbrel. Rheumatoid arthritis is an immune system malfunction in which cells that normally fight infection turn on the body, often attacking and destroying joints. Enbrel and Remicade work by protecting the joints from the body's own immune system.
They are immunosuppressive agents, so you can get infections that you might not otherwise have.
Reports obtained by CBS News show dozens of people on these drugs have needed emergency hospital care. And more troubling, there have been 22 deaths of people taking Enbrel, 48 deaths of people taking Remicade. The people who died were all taking other medications and had other illnesses, and the drug company says problems are well within normal range.
We've been very impressed with rare events happening, but always at or below the rate in the general population.
It's a paradox for the FDA, which is also faced with glowing success stories from people like Heidi McIntyre, who says Enbrel has been nothing short of miraculous for her.
There's been not one single drug that has touched my arthritis in a positive way except this one. It's given me a big part of my life back.
Warning labels have already been changed 5 times, so the question of what to do with these drugs that have hurt some and helped many will be a difficult one for the FDA, which ended its meeting today taking no action. Elizabeth Caledon, CBS News, New York.
Another death has been linked to West Nile virus. Federal health officials now confirm that a 71-year-old woman who died last week in downtown Atlanta was infected with West Nile. The virus has been linked to 9 deaths in the United States since 1999. In Cincinnati, the crime was awful enough. An 8-year-old girl raped and beaten to death. But what is stunning is that the accused are children as well, and not that much older. They were related to the victim. CBS News correspondent Jim Axelrod has our report.
If kids in cuffs never lose their power to shock, the story out of Cincinnati is of especially high voltage.
She ain't breathing tonight. We tried to wake her up. She won't. We tried to pour cold water on her.
By the time the 911 call was made from this apartment, an 8-year-old girl was dead or dying, beaten and raped, police say, by her 13-year-old cousin and 11-year-old brother.
She must have suffered a horrible death, and it's a tragic situation.
The cousin was put in charge of the girl and her 3 siblings by a mom headed off to work. Kids the county placed with their grandmother last year when the mother was convicted of child endangerment. What's still unclear, why the grandmother returned them. If the prosecutors are right, the nation has 2 new poster boys for what many think is a growing problem, child killers. One problem with that, says Vinnie Schiraldi, who studies youth crime.
Homicides by kids overall are down to the rates that they were at in 1966.
In the last 8 years, homicides by juveniles are down 68%. Despite that, 62% of the public think juvenile crime has actually increased. The disconnect, says Schiraldi, is rooted in this parade of pictures. Child killers, chilling stories, saturation coverage.
We are technologically able to misinform one another at much greater rates than they were at any period in history.
It's a cautionary note about the power of pictures to shape impressions. Take Columbine. For many, the image that illustrates what's thought to be the growing problem of school violence. But the year of Columbine, there was a 40% decline in school killings from the year before. Bob?
Jim Axelrod. Thank you, Jim. Well, we have an update tonight on the case of the writer Vanessa Leggett. Citing constitutional rights as a journalist, Leggett refused to comply with a grand jury subpoena for her notes on a forthcoming book about a murder case. Today, a federal appeals court refused to lift a contempt citation and free her from a Houston jail. Still ahead on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America will look tonight at budget cuts in child daycare that could put parents back on welfare.
I'm every man.
And every woman who ever suffered from frequent, persistent heartburn.
If you've treated your heartburn and changed your diet, but the pain comes back 2 or more days a week, then you may think you know about acid reflux disease.
But there's something about acid reflux that I didn't know.
Over time, that acid churning up can wear away the lining of your esophagus.
I didn't know.
I didn't know.
I didn't.
Now the makers of Prilosec introduce their new purple pill, Nexium. Just 1 prescription Nexium a day gives many people complete resolution of heartburn symptoms.
That could mean complete heartburn relief.
And Nexium is also proven to heal erosions in the esophagus caused by acid reflux. Only a doctor can determine if you have this damage. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist. The most common side effects of Nexium and Prilosec are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. So talk to your doctor and call this number for more information and for a free trial certificate for Nexium.
Relieve the heartburn, heal the damage. It's possible with the new purple pill called Nexium.
You know when you're not feeling like yourself. You're tired all the time. You may feel sad, hopeless, and lose interest in things you once loved. You may feel anxious, can't even sleep. Your daily activities and relationships suffer. You know when you just don't feel right. Now here's something you may not know. These are some symptoms of depression, a serious medical condition affecting over 20 million Americans. While the cause is unknown, depression may be related to an imbalance of naturally occurring chemicals between nerve cells in the brain. Zoloft, a prescription medicine, works to correct this imbalance. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right. Only your doctor can diagnose depression. Zoloft is not for everyone. People taking medicines called MAOI shouldn't take Zoloft. Side effects may include dry mouth, insomnia, sexual side effects, diarrhea, nausea, and sleepiness. Zoloft is not habit-forming. Talk to your doctor about Zoloft, the #1 prescribed brand of its kind. Zoloft. When you know more about what's wrong, you can help make it right.
There's a place where folks celebrate life and get real fired up over food. It's got to be Applebee's. It's Applebee's Fiesta del Grill. Make your taste buds dance with our one and only lime marinated chicken, our sizzling fajitas, or for a limited time, the Southwest Steak Skillet. 11 ounces of heaven grilled to perfection. It's got to be Applebee's.
There's word today that the U.S. Marine Corps has charged 8 officers in the alleged falsification of maintenance records for the troubled Osprey aircraft program. The most senior is Major General Dennis Krupp, who's accused of dereliction of duty. The administrative charges follow 2 fatal crashes of the Osprey, which takes off like a helicopter and flies like a plane. The officers will be able to defend themselves in hearings. With no end in sight to the latest round of violence in the Middle East, a key player in the region today urged the United States to leave the diplomatic sidelines. White House correspondent Bill Plant has more on that.
In the wake of escalating violence, Palestinian suicide bombings and Israeli assassinations of suspected terrorists, the Bush administration's response remains cool down, get back to negotiations. But a senior advisor to Egypt's president says the U.S. is too laid back, that the situation is at a crisis point on the verge of spinning out of control.
The continuation of the present situation is untenable. We cannot live with it. The U.S. cannot live with it. The two parties immediately concerned cannot live with this either.
Elbaz told the Secretary of State today that the U.S. must get more involved in settling the conflict because Israel and the Palestinians are unable to do it themselves. But the president has made it clear he believes it's up to them.
Mr. Arafat must do everything in his power to discourage the suicide bombers. And the Israelis must be restrained in their response. There's too much violence in the Middle East, but I'm confident that we can avoid war, so long as the leadership makes the concerted effort to do so.
But a former U.S. ambassador to both Egypt and Israel says the current violence has gone too far for the United States to just sit on the sidelines.
They're going to need to have an external actor to come in and help them back away from this confrontation. Otherwise, I don't see any way they can do it politically.
The administration continues to support a ceasefire, which has never taken hold, and the plan of a committee headed by former Senator George Mitchell for a return to political negotiations. But Walker says it'll take more than that.
I think that if the U.S. engages politically, that's the key. It's engaging with the President, the Secretary of State, and a clear, consistent policy.
But the Bush administration remains reluctant to get as involved in the Middle East conflict as Bill Clinton was, because they feel the risks outweigh the possible rewards. Bill Plant, CBS News, the White House.
In the Balkans, more fighting reported today in Macedonia between government forces and ethnic Albanian rebels. Meantime, peacekeeping troops from NATO are starting to move in. The first units arrived tonight in Macedonia's capital. They'll pave the way for several hundred British soldiers arriving this weekend. But as a policeman allegedly killed by a rebel sniper was buried, continuing clashes prompted NATO to delay a final decision on deploying the full force of over 3,000 peacekeepers, including Americans. A Chinese court has handed out jail terms to 4 suspected members of the banned Falun Gong spiritual movement, sentencing one to life behind bars. They were convicted of orchestrating the self-immolation of 5 alleged followers in Tiananmen Square earlier this year. 2 of the 5 died of their burns. And a 43-year-old man was flown to a Miami hospital after a shark bit him in the leg while he was snorkeling off Grand Bahama. His injury is not said to be serious. It is the second shark attack on an American in the Bahamas this month. And next on the CBS Evening News, Eye on America. This daycare program helps parents get off welfare and onto payroll. So why is it facing budget cuts?
Once you pass 50, skincare's a whole new game.
L'Oreal introduces age-perfect anti-sagging and rehydrating treatment.
Because mature skin has issues all its own. It starts to sag, loses resiliency, and needs more moisture.
Age-perfect actually improves skin's resiliency, tightening its network as it deeply rehydrates. So effective, in only 2 weeks, 83% of women reported more resilient skin.
Today, this is what mature skin looks like.
New Age-perfect, only from L'Oreal Paris.
It's an innovation for mature skin.
Who'd you expect? Bob Dole?
Follow Mark Martin and the Viagra racing team this season.
Get to your doctor for a checkup and find out if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
And for more information right now, race over to Viagra.com.
Guys, did you get everything?
Yep. They even had his school supply list.
Pencils?
Number 2s, 10-pack.
Backpack?
At Staples, we have teacher-supplied back-to-school lists, so you'll find everything in one place at everyday low prices.
Honey, what's that?
It's a multifunction flatbed all-in-one printer, copier, fax machine, scanner.
Not on the list.
School supply lists. Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
For a book report or something.
Tired of struggling down glass after glass of powdered fiber for regularity? Consider refreshing glasses of water with FiberCon tablets, a whole lot easier to take.
And every bit as effective as powder.
FiberCon, refreshingly easier to take.
Now, the same caltrate that helps fight bone loss may help your colon too. In a recent study, caltrate helped reduce the risk of recurrence of colon polyps, a risk factor for colon cancer. The same caltrate you take for your bones, now for colon health too.
What is possible? Does achievement discriminate? Or does it open its doors to everyone?
Tonight's Eye on America looks at a government program that pays for child care so parents can get off welfare and go to work. There is a long waiting list for this daycare, and Bobby Harley reports it could get longer because of budget cuts.
Mama's big boy.
From the day she got off welfare, Lakeisha Powell has worked hard and played by the rules.
That's the good stuff.
Exactly what the federal government asks of mothers leaving welfare for work.
Douglas, make sure you get going. Hairbrush, teeth brush.
Yes, ma'am.
After 3 years of working 90 hours a week, she and her two boys moved out of the projects into this comfortable apartment and off almost all public assistance.
You're not on welfare.
No, I'm not.
You don't have food stamps.
No, I don't.
But childcare, you can't get by without.
I can't. Devon, bye-bye.
But Lakeisha fears she may lose her government-subsidized daycare, the foundation on which she's built her fragile success.
Fish.
Because of cutbacks proposed in the federal budget.
If you want a single mom go to work, then she has to have child care. You can't leave your children in the closet all day.
And child care providers say that these programs can't meet the need as it is. In Florida alone, more than 50,000 people remain on a waiting list for subsidized child care. Nationwide, only 1 family in 10 that qualifies for such aid actually receives it.
We probably need to double the amount of money that we currently use, to provide child care for low-income families.
And yet you're facing possibly that money disappearing.
Yes.
Okay, page 464.
All Lakeisha's hopes for the future of her family now hinge on her education. She's taken a big financial hit by giving up one of her jobs to attend school full-time.
As far as the employees are concerned,
she'll receive her associate's degree with honors this spring and then plans to go on to earn her bachelor's degree in accounting.
I want you to.
But in the meantime, she has to work to support her family, which means picking up the kids at daycare.
Say bye-bye.
And dropping them off at night care, which is also subsidized by a federal program facing cuts.
I do show that we have availability.
Her job as a reservations agent at a local resort ends at 11 p.m. It's nearly midnight by the time she and her boys finally get back home.
It doesn't leave me with the best feeling inside that I go to work at 7 in the morning and I don't see my kids until 11 at night. But I know I'm doing what I have to do now so that I can be there for them in the future.
If your child care subsidy disappeared tomorrow, what happens to you?
I don't know. I wouldn't be able to go to school, that's obvious. I wouldn't be able to go to work, so where would we end up?
It's long after midnight when she finally sits down to study. But Lakeisha Powell still hopes that with a little help, working hard and playing by the rules will pay off in her long journey from welfare to work. In Daytona Beach, Florida, I'm Bobby Harley for Eye on America.
In the old days, athlete's foot meant using Lotrimin AF or Tenactin for 4 whole weeks.
Who does that? Today, they're out. Because Lamisil AT changed everything. Lamisil AT kills the fungus with just 1 week's use.
Do you really have 4 weeks to use those other guys?
When your feet itch and burn, using Lamisil AT 1 week keeps you athlete's foot free for 3 months. Those old-timers, they don't promise that.
It's in a league all its own.
Lamisil AT, the best way to cure athlete's foot.
Yesterday, allergies took you out of it.
Today, Allegra can help bring you back. Only Allegra has fexofenadine for once daily relief for people 12 and older. Side effects include headache, upper respiratory tract infection, and back pain. Call your doctor now for more information. Allegra, enjoy your world.
Buick Summer Drive Away adds bonus cash. Through August 31st, get a Buick Open Golf bonus on top of closeout cash on every new 2001 Buick. Drive away with total cash back offers ranging from $2,400 to $3,900. Hurry! Golf bonus cash ends August 31st. Buick's Great Summer Drive Away. And be sure and test drive your all-new 2002 Rendezvous at your Buick dealer now.
Can't get enough of you, baby.
Who'd you expect? Bob Dole?
Follow Mark Martin and the Viagra racing team this season.
Get to your doctor for a checkup and find out if a free sample of Viagra is right for you.
And for more information right now, race over to Viagra.com.
When my arthritis started choosing the notes, I thought my jazz days were over. But my doctor said keep moving with Advil. It's strong enough to let me control the pain. That's me playing again.
Take Advil and take control.
I should use Preparation H.
Cool it fast with Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. Preparation H Cooling Gel cools on contact.
Will you soon be able to travel a little faster on Oregon freeways? The governor makes a decision to increase the speed limit. How did he vote? At 6.
And in tonight's evening news in notes, Chicago tycoon Steve Fawcett was forced to abandon his 5th attempt to circle the world in a balloon. He landed today in Brazil after a run-in with what he called a minefield of thunderstorms. He did set a record for the longest solo balloon flight, 12 days, 13 hours. And 59 years after they were killed during a raid on a Japanese-held Pacific island during World War II, and 2 years Cemetery. One was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor. And that's the news. There's more CBS News ahead beginning tonight with 48 Hours, and here's Bill Lagatuda.
It's one of the most important custody cases in history.
I was the biological mother.
Biologically, I'm her father.
But who will be JC's parents?
I gave birth. I'm her mom.
That's later tonight on 48 Hours.
What kind of man sends other men to their deaths as suicide bombers? The man you're looking at does, and brags about it Sunday on 60 Minutes.
And Sunday morning on Face the Nation, we'll take a closer look at the issue of cloning humans. For Dan Rather, this is Bob Schieffer, CBS News in New York. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.
This is CBS. Now, with Jeff Gianola and Kelly Day, this is KOIN 6 News at 6.
It looks like a war zone in the West tonight, including Oregon. New crews are pouring into Oregon and Washington as wildfires take over thousands of acres. It's 6 o'clock. Hi, everyone.